This is Between the Lines. Today, we dissect the road less traveled.
Hello, this is Carol from Ulua. We continue with the road less traveled. We still have a lot to go on with this book. And today is chapter 13, and it's called The Healthiness of Depression. Because, we come from balancing, when we say we need to let go things and accept the death of something inside of us in order to grow. It's like this caterpillar growing into a butterfly, as we were saying before. The chrysalid, then the caterpillar and everything. And how we can say that depression is good, in which context, because, not everything is black or white. You have some things in the middle. It could be a little bit more white sometimes and a little bit more darker in other times. And depression has a healthy side of it. For example, when you are trying to grow and you are in a stage of letting go things from your life, and we all have to do these things along our whole life. Different things we have to let go. For example, being an infant in order to become an adolescent, and then moving up to being an adult. So there are behaviors, beliefs, attitudes, and things like that we have to let go. And in this part of the book, the doctor says that kind of depression is really healthy because it helps us move on and grow specifically. And not move backwards, but move on and up. We could say level up our way of behaving, our way of living, or grow up, basically. So he has a definition of what depression is for the doctor, and he says, and I will leave it here somewhere. Depression is the feeling associated with giving up something loved, or at least something that is a part of ourself and familiar. So it's something that we already have, something we already know how it works, how it functions. It's making us functional in the world, maybe right now or maybe not. Maybe we are fighting against this, but we know how to fight against that thing. It could be, I don't know, an addiction. It could be a behavior that's not actually representing our best self right now, our truth or our new reality or the reality we are undergoing now. And that thing that we have to let go, and maybe we know it and maybe we don't know it, maybe it's unconscious, but we have to let it go in order to grow up. And leaving that part of ourselves is like letting it die. And it's, for us, it's really difficult. And that process is depression. And the doctor says it's healthy because it helps us grow again. But there are some contexts or some situations where depression can be unhealthy. And this happens when we don't want to let go the thing that we have to let die, or we spend too much time attached to that thing and we cannot move up or move on. So when this happens, there is something that interrupts this process of growing, and we get stuck in depression. So it becomes sometimes chronic and pathologic. He goes to mention, for example, that this happens when you have some trauma from your childhood, and you carry that up on the next stages until it becomes a total burden. And it doesn't have to be something too complicated, like a tragedy or a super dramatic situation in your life. It can be just, for example, when I was reading this, it came to my mind when your parents, for example, take you for example, a comfort pillow from you, or a comfort doll, or car, or whatever it is, a toy that you have, and you, because they think that maybe it's best for you because you're growing up and that kind of thing, but maybe you were too attached to that object, for example, and you cannot let it go, and you feel like that's taken from you, and that's a traumatic situation for a child. So you can move up, and you can grow on in other aspects of your life, but maybe you keep attached to things, and you start to, sometimes it can be presented in different behaviors, like hoarding up so many things at your home, in your house, or maybe it's attaching for too long to things that you know that I have to let go, and those kind of things. So again, it doesn't have to be a super traumatic situation. It can be just like a little thing that our mind or our unconscious stores it as if it's something really difficult for us to overcome. Again, as I was saying, maybe you don't remember it consciously, and you don't know consciously that this, because it seems like a trivial situation that happened to you in the past, and you say that can be the problem, that can be the reason why I'm doing certain things right now, or why I can't let go. But you're unconscious now, and your unconscious is the one responsible for getting you through this stage of depression. So you are depressed because your unconscious does know that you have had this little or big or whatever it is trauma in your infant life. So if you are depressed, it could be a good news, right? Because it means that you are growing. The problem is when you are stuck with depression, and then it's when you need to find somebody else to help you move on, and maybe sometimes discover or find out what's going on in your mind, in your previous stages in life, where you have had this kind of experiences and you don't even remember. As I was saying, it's just part of your unconscious, and maybe having somebody helping you out through this stage can help you get unstuck of this stage and move on to completing the process of healing or growing and becoming your next you. And actually this chapter is not that long. I would say it just ends there, except for there are 14 things that the doctor says. I have the list here, and I will leave you this at the end of the video. There are 14 behaviors, things, beliefs that we have to let go along our life, throughout our whole life. Maybe some more things that aren't mentioned here, but I think this list covers it pretty fully. I will leave again the list. There are 14 things, and it would be really nice if you could, just for you, maybe if you want to comment below that I have found that I have to leave out this and this and this. That would be nice. But it can be just for you, in order for you to understand and say, oh, maybe I'm stuck with this little thing that I haven't been, or maybe it's a huge thing for you, I don't know, that you have to overcome in order to grow up to the next stage. And this list of things that the doctor says that you have to let die at different ages or at different stages in the process of life are inspired, I could say, are inspired because the doctor mentions a book which I have it here, I think, written. Yes, about the stages of psychological development by Dr. Erik Erikson. And he mentions 8 stages of life. And from those stages, the doctor gathers some specific points that are the things that we have to let go in order to grow to the following stage in life. But he didn't went too much into this topic, so I think I will be taking this for another episode related to this, but in the other section of the podcast. So anyways, also depression, he doesn't mention, Dr. Peck doesn't mention this that I'm about to say right now in the book, because I think it's because this model that I'm going to mention right now, it's contemporary to the doctors, kind of, because the first time this model was presented, it was in 1969. It was by Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, but she was in Europe at the time. I think she's from Finland, somewhere there, and the doctor is from the US. So apparently they were working on kind of similar things, not exactly the same, but at different locations. And this part, depression specifically, is covered by the model Kubler-Ross, which is the stages of grief. And the first time it was presented, it was said to be like the 5 stages of death, she called it. And then she moved that name onto grief. She was researching this kind of situations, and when you undergo through the grief for the death of a beloved one, you undergo through these 5 stages. And there are some other models too, but while I was reading this, I thought a lot about this model, because depression is one of the latest states, and depression is a key part of the process. And I will leave an image from Wikipedia here where it talks a lot about a model. It says that depression, when the result of depression is not that good, it really goes into a crisis, or a deepest crisis. But when you go out of depression, you accept your new reality, and that is when the doctor says here, speaking about depression, you can update your map. Remember, we've been talking about you accept the reality, you update your map with the new information that you have, and then you can move on. But if you just stay there, you will stay in crisis. And that is when most of the people go to or look for a therapist in the good cases. Sometimes they just stay not even knowing they're maybe going under a chronic depression sometimes. So yeah, I wanted to mention that model because it's kind of related, but the doctor doesn't mention it. So just like a side note, we could say, of this. Okay, so this is a really short chapter, as I said, and I will leave a reel just right now when we end this video, so you can read the 14 things that you should let go in order to grow up and be a more fully or enjoy more of your life during different stages. Maybe you haven't come yet to another stage that you have to go under certain things. For example, he talks about parenthood, and maybe you're not a parent, so that part won't be part of your equation in your life. But there are like typical things that we have to let go during our lives. And so you just can watch it at your own pace. if you need to pause for some of the things, I will say it's numbered. You can reflect on that and everything. And if you want to comment, again, you can do it. For example, say, I don't know, I have to let go 5, 6, whatever it is. And I'm so grateful if you do that. And just comment whatever you want. And also like it, share it. You know the drill. And also, if you want to invite me for a coffee, thank you very much. It's super appreciated. So see you in the next episode.
Stay tuned for Ulua's next episode.